All right, here with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship boss David Feldman. Dave, you guys always know how to make a splash, man. You did one again with Chad Mendes. I got to ask you, that one came out of left field. I was excited because I'm happy to see Chad back competing again. But how did that come together? This guy was sitting on the sidelines, retired. How'd you make this happen?
We were talking for a while, and we were just really far apart on our expectations of the numbers. And he came back to us, I don't know, 6-7 months later, and we were able to make it work. He's got a good team behind him. The guys that I've been working with over there at Team Alpha Male, they're all really good dudes, and we're able to make it happen. We presented him with a plan, not just like, here's the amount of money for this fight. Here's what we're going to do. We'll do this. We'll do this. You'll fight for the championship. If you win these 2 fights, and then, we'll move you into this position, and he loved it. So he's a good dude. Look, he's got an unbelievable work ethic. He's got a cult following among hunters. So he's got everything we're kind of looking for. We're always looking for that like little niche, and he's got that niche. So he's and have you seen him training? I mean, he looks like an animal.
Yeah. I knew he couldn't stay away from competition, man. He's been doing it for so long. So you said you've got a plan for him, and like you said, maybe all the way to the championship, if he wins those first 2 fights. I'd originally heard October was kind of what we were looking. I mean, any updates on, a date, an opponent, anything like that to know that we can mark down for his debut?
Yeah, we got a date. We don't have an opponent yet. We probably will by Friday. We've got 3 that we're going over his team with. The date is October 22nd. It's going to be in Chandler, Arizona. So it's going to our first time in Arizona with Chad Mendes would be really cool. That's also marks the return of Beck Rawlings on that card as well.
Great. Yeah, saw she was coming back as well. Does she have an opponent yet, or we just know that she's on that card?
Not yet. I mean, but we got some pretty exciting ones that we're thinking about. Maybe a rematch. Maybe a rematch.
I like it. There's a lot of good opportunities. She's always fun to watch, that's for sure. Hey, I did want to ask you, speaking of making these big splashes, last event out, Diego Sanchez spent a little time on the microphone and said, hey, this might be something I'd be interested in doing. I'm curious. I mean, it seems like a place he'd fit right in, man. Is there any progress, or have you guys stayed in discussion since that time?
Yeah, we're having some great talks. I think we're going to close something out pretty soon. He's a good guy. I think he can offer a lot to us. I don't think he's done. We'll absolutely go through every type of medical protocols that there are, because we also, because of the history he had with the guy that he was with, I want to make sure that everything's on the up and up with him. And I have a really good hunch and a feeling that they are. So once we get through that, I think we can get to a contract and get something going. And it'd be great to have that legend Diego Sanchez fighting another legend inside the square circle. Which, as soon as Diego signs and I can announce the matchup that I have, people are going to be like, "What the hell is going on here?"
All right, so you teased out another legend there, so that means you've got another name. Is it so somebody that's already on the roster, or do you also have another new signing in mind for Diego if you can get it done?
I got one that's not on the roster that people are also going to go like, "What the hell?" And I got another one that's on the roster that people are 100% going to be like, I can't believe this. This doesn't make any sense. But he asked for it, so I just until I get the contract on, I don't want to tease. I hate doing that to you, man. But
You always got the tease for me, man. That's for sure. Well, listen, I mean, I guess without going too far behind the scenes, I mean, these are big names you're talking about. These are big contracts. I imagine that means big dollar figures attached to them as well. I mean, talk about, I guess, kind of where you stand right now. I mean, is this a risky play that like, hey, we got to go all in now, or are things going that well behind the scenes financially? What's the situation right now?
Look, I mean, we're in a spot now where we're in a really good trajectory right now. Financially, we're doing good. You want to make a lot of money. We're not making a lot of money, but we're doing everything that we're supposed to do, and we're exceeding all of our expectations and the investors' expectations. We blew this thing up to a valuation in 3 years that's really unheard of right now. We have a really good valuation done on us that was done by an outside auditing company. So, I mean, this is a real valuation right now. So we're doing phenomenal that way. And these things are just going to add to them. So, look, I just signed a huge deal in Russia. I think I talked to you about that before, but I just signed a huge deal in Russia. We start in February. I signed another deal in Latin America. I have a bunch of deals going on right now all around the world. This thing is really blowing up. It's taken off. So we're doing everything good. We're not in jeopardy of, in the next couple fights or so going out of business. That's not happening. We have a good plan for at least the next 3 years. And then, if things keep going the way we think they're going to go, we'll be around for another 3 or 4 years, before we sell this thing. But, everything really is going good. It's not, we're not counting all the money over here, but we're doing good numbers, and we're delivering, and we're beating expectations, which is, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Hey, I did want to ask you about one other specific name because he's been kind of throwing some teases out there. But, Dan Hardy has been talking about competing again. And every time he talks about it, he says, I've been trying on different gloves to see what they feel like. And then he says, and I've been doing some stuff without gloves. So right there, I say, oh, he's talking to bare knuckle as well. So have you had any talks with Dan Hardy? And is that somebody that you're interested in? Or can you tell us some news, break us some news?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm definitely interested in Dan Hardy. Him versus Diego Sanchez could be a good matchup. That's something that I could see happening. So I'm absolutely interested in him, and we're actually going to be talking this week and seeing if we can knock something out. But really, any of these guys with any of the bigger names out there, it's just going to be very, very intriguing and get a lot of eyeballs to it. These are guys that people want to see fight. These aren't guys. I did throw a thing out there with Chuck Liddell and say, "What do you guys think?" Because he mentioned that he wanted to fight bare knuckle, and it was a resounding, nah, not really, a little too old for us. So I'm going to listen to the fans, But with Diego Sanchez and Dan Hardy, I don't think they're at that point. I think they're at the point where they might go with Diego Sanchez. Just is he there? Is he there or not there? And I think he's there. I talked to him. I know he had some bad influences. I mean, I met the guy. I was probably the first one in combat sports that met the dude that was with him, and I'm like, something is wrong here. But Diego himself, he's a great guy, man. He's a really good human being, and I don't think he's past it. If I did think he was past it, I wouldn't jeopardize what we're building here or his health. So, that could be a good one. Dan Hardy could absolutely be a good one. Chad Mendes is obviously a good one, and some other names that are going to be coming on the open market block pretty soon.
That's awesome, man. Let me ask you about a name you do have. Paige VanZant, of course, now 0-2 in the promotion, but very entertaining fights, and she's made it clear, she's such a positive person. She's like, look, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep getting better. I'll be back. Talk to me about what you think about, kind of where she stands, and, I mean, is she kind of in a must-win position, next time out, or what do you think about where she stands in her BKFC run right now?
I did an interview, and I said, I think she's in a must-win situation. And, is she in a must-win situation? I mean, it's going to be hard being 0-2, and then if she lost another one to be 0-3. But at the end of the day, is every one of her fights are good, though. They are really good. They're entertaining. They're good, and they're competitive. They're not one-sided fights. If they were one-sided fights the whole way through, then maybe the sport wouldn't be for her. But, I don't see that in Paige right now. So she'll be back, absolutely. Well, I'm actually having a meeting tomorrow with her management team. So I'm down here in Miami right now taking care of some business. I'm going to meet her management team tomorrow, and we're going to discuss her future. But, I'm not, she delivers for us what we want her to deliver. She also, fights her ass off. She does. And she has, I don't like fighters that take wins, that take losses easily. I mean, that take losses easily. And she doesn't, right? So she walked out of the ring. She didn't do the post-fight interview. She didn't come to the post-fight press conference. Wasn't happy with it at all. But on the flip side, as being a former competitor, I'm like, you know what, man? She wanted to win so bad and didn't. But she still needs to be able to, oblige us. But, I got it. I understood why. It wasn't about like I'm too good for this. It was like I'm so disappointed in myself. And I like that. I like that because that means she's going to train harder and try harder.
Yeah, no question about it. She's got that spirit within. All right, well, let's talk about what you do have coming up next week. BKFC 20 in Biloxi, Mississippi. Rematch with Johnny Bedford, Reginald Bryant, and the main event. Why put the rematch back together? Why was that the fight that you thought was the right one to headline this card?
I took the title away from Baton and Win just because we couldn't get the contract negotiations down right. And you know what? A lot of people were like, well, why would you do that? But as being a promoter owner of this young sport, we can't sit around and wait. So I couldn't sit around and wait to see is he going to come around. So it's the one that made the most sense. It's a different Reggie Barnett. He beat former world champion DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley in his last fight. He looked different, right? He was He was grappling. He was doing different things. He was using the clinch. He was using the head clinch. He was doing everything that Reggie Barnett never did before. Now, couple that with his tremendous boxing ability, I think he's going to present Johnny Bedford with a different strategy and a different opponent. But then again, then you have a Johnny Bedford who really always kind of finds a way to win, and he's bigger. He's got a more physical advantage here. So it's an intriguing matchup. Who knows what's going to happen this time because it is a different Reggie Barnett. And now you do have a Johnny Bedford who does have one loss now in the organization. So how did that affect him? Did it affect him good or did it affect him bad? So we're going to find all that out next Friday night in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Yeah, no question. Looking forward to it. I've been really intrigued by what Johnny Bedford has been able to do with you. Obviously, he had a great MMA run, but he fits in nicely in your organization. You mentioned that win. Any changes at all? Is there any progress? I mean, are you guys going to continue to try to work, or is it just maybe better off apart?
We signed him to a new contract now, so he's back with BKFC. But I can't be the guy that goes, "Okay, I'm taking your title. Oh, now you want to come back? Here's your title." So now he has to earn his way back up. He's probably actually going to move up in weight, and we'll see if something big's on the horizon for him in November. It looks like something really big is going to pop for him. At a higher weight class, and I think it's going to be really exciting for the fans.
Very nice. Obviously, another big notable name for MMA fans that you've got next week, Alan Belcher. Talk to you about Alan Belcher. Here's another guy that we thought was done, right? He had walked away, but you mentioned somebody that looks like he's putting in the work, man. Alan Belcher looks like he's been putting in the work ahead of this. How did his participation all come together?
We've been talking for a while, and he would go. He kept telling me, "You can't afford me." I don't think he knew what we were really doing. I don't think he meant it derogatory. I didn't think he knew the scale of where we were kind of heading to. And then we became actually friends, and he started doing some marketing for us. And then we started talking, and I said, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "Let's fight." And so he's like, let's test the waters first." So I threw out Tony Lopez, and he said, "I thought we were going to test the waters first." I said, "We don't test the waters at BKFC, man. We fight." And Tony Lopez I think, is the perfect opponent for Alan Belcher because he's a tough dude. That's going to keep going forward, but he's not a huge puncher. So he's not someone that presents that type of danger, but he does present the danger that he's just never going to stop moving forward. And I think it's going to make for a really exciting matchup and a good test for Alan Belcher's first bare knuckle fight.
Yeah, no question about it. I'm anxious to see him back as well, man. A couple of big names there from the MMA world. What else can you tell us, Dave, about what the future? You mentioned Arizona. I mean, last time we talked, you talked about, hey, I'm going to new territories. We're opening new places. I know the world has kind of changed. Things are changing all the time, so it's tough. But what can you tell us about the remaining dates, events, anything for the rest of this year?
Yeah, man, we got September August 20th, obviously in Biloxi, Mississippi. September 10th, our first fight in Omaha, Nebraska. September 17th, we're going to go do another little total line in Fort Lauderdale, and then October we're going to do two new states. We're going to do our first show. It's going to be, I think it's October 8th. Our first show in Montana. That'll feature Joe Riggs, and then we'll do October 22nd in Arizona, and then we actually have three events in 7 days in November. November 5th will be in Birmingham, Alabama. November 6th will be our first show in Allegheny County, New York. So it'll be our first show in New York on November 6th. And then November 12th, we're going to go back and do a huge show actually in Miami. I think it's going to be our biggest one. And then we're going to close out with one show in December. It looks like that one's going to end up in another new state, New Mexico. So we have a lot of new things popping, really, really busy. And then, God forbid, man, this COVID thing goes away and everything works out that way. Then the international for 2022 just looks like it's crazy. Like I'm probably going to get divorced because I don't know when I'm going to be home, man.
That's crazy. So, man, there's three events in 7 days. I mean, look, it's not like you don't have hundreds of people sitting in an office somewhere. I mean, this has got to be tough on everybody, right? Is this an ambitious stretch for you? What made you say let's do it?
It was the only date that the venue had for November 6th in New York. If not, it wasn't until May. And I said, no way, man. We have an opportunity to do New York. We're doing New York. We already had Alabama booked, and we have a good card put together for there. And then this November 12th popped up in Miami. We're going to do something with a big cryptocurrency conference. So we're going to do a huge fight for about 10,000 people. So it was just an opportunity. So we actually just got another ring made. So we're gonna have a ring for the 5th, a ring for the 6th. We just chartered a plane actually to take everybody from the 5th to the 6th fight. So it's a lot of work and it's a lot of risk. But at the end of the day, is man, big risk, big reward, man. And I think if we can put together 3 flawless events in a 7-day span, I don't think there's anything that can stop us really.
That's pretty incredible. Well, I'm looking forward to it. You guys have been making a big moves this year, and it'll continue on. For now, it's BKFC 20. As you always do, tell us if anybody's thinking, I don't know if I want to watch this one. What's the pitch? Why do they got to catch this one?
I mean, just like every event, I say this one could be the best event ever, and then it turns out and some of the best fights ever. If you're into combat sports, which obviously if you're watching this program, you are. This is the fastest growing, most exciting, nonstop combat sport action you'll ever find anywhere in the history of combat sports. This is it. You can adapt to this because it's fist fighting. It's something you saw as a 2-year-old and something you'll see as a 90-year-old. It's fist fighting with the best, most skilled professional combat sports athletes in the world. Go to bkfc.com for all the ticket information, all the viewing information. That's bkfc.com. And tune in next Friday night, August 20th. If it's your first BKFC event, I promise you it will not be your last.